Stand by. The vacuum tubes are warming up. This is a special live broadcast right here on Georgia Radio.
Well, good evening, everybody. Here we are. It's me, Wade People, Matt Jolly at GeorgiaRadio.com. A great radio institution. And you're listening to the Georgia Folk and Farm Life radio show, and brought to you by Meeks Cattle Company. Great local company with great beef.
Yeah, good meat. I'll tell you what, that is some fine beef that they have out there at Meeks Brothers.
It is amazing.
How are you doing tonight, by the way?
I'm quite well.
Well, you know, we were talking the other day, you and me were talking about a rare plant that you had discovered, Bonatibidus inhibitus monas something or other was the, what was it called that you thought you had discovered?
It was called the rare shut up, Matt, and move along.
No, it was
plant.
You really did.
Plant.
You thought you had found something, and we laughed about it for no, but we laughed about it for quite a while.
Because bugs had been eating its leaves and it didn't look like itself.
But what was it supposed to look like, though?
Never mind. It was
no, come on. Because we're talking about some funny jokes today because it's important to laugh. And a lot of people have forgotten that in the last few weeks. But we have a lot of fun over there reading Georgia Folk and Farm Life and some of the stuff that you come up with. You're just a naturally funny person. But what was the plant that you thought you had discovered again? Because it's like a long-lost plant that it's not extinct, but it's one that is rare. It's very, very rare. You just knew you had come up with one.
You're dead air. You like dead air, Matt? You're a big fan of dead air.
I can't remember what the plant was called.
I hate that. I'm so sorry you can't remember. And neither can I. I've asked Conway several times, and he can't remember either. So,
well, it was a funny name. And anyhow, it turned out not. You sent it to our good friend of Georgia Folk and Farm Life, Chris Adams. And he.
But the reason I want to talk to Chris about it when we have him on.
We got to have him on a show here pretty soon.
And I want to talk to him about it. But he and I did message back and forth. I don't want to spoil the fun of this plant, on this show when I had it planned for another show.
But it was a very, very rare plant that you thought you had found. I was joking with you, and I said it was one that one of the Spanish conquistadors brought over.
Mm-hmm. And I think it was in a pile of dung when somebody, on one of those early expeditions.
Yeah.
They squatted and left it in rural Georgia there along the river. And
old Cabeza de Vaca had it on his shoe or something.
It was a
could have been
new old world plant in a new world.
Yeah. All right. You got any good jokes? Because
I've got jokes. Wait a minute. You didn't say good jokes. You said jokes. And I
said jokes. I said jokes. You got any good ones?
Well, I was thinking about my first joke, and I haven't posted this on Georgia Folk and Farm. The first joke I ever heard, my daddy told me when I was a little fella. He said, guy opened his refrigerator, and there was a rabbit in it. And the man looked at the rabbit and said, what are you doing in my refrigerator? And the rabbit said, well, it said Westinghouse, and I'm Weston.
Oh, boy. And I'm Weston.
But, my daddy never spent a lot of time, with us when we were kids.
We just lost half the listeners just tuned out.
He didn't play with us a lot. But I remember, like, when I was 4 years old, he had an old tire, and he would put me in and roll me down the hill. And I really loved that. And that, that was a good year.
No broken arms or...
It was a good year, Matt.
I'm just trying to ignore it, Wade, but now that everybody's left for this show, and there's absolutely nobody listening 4 minutes and 30 seconds into it.
Another one of my early jokes.
Let's hear it.
You dying for another one?
I'm dying for another one.
I can remember this well. We went to Florida to visit my great-grandmother and all my kinfolks in Florida, and there on the Ocklawaha River in Marion County, and at my great-grandmother's old home place there. And there was a huge crowd that night. We had a mullet supper and out under the lights in the yard, and they had music, and there was hundreds of people there because there was hundreds and hundreds of kinfolks. You don't have those kinds of guys. But I was 3 years old, And I had heard this joke, and this was early in the hippie era, and I'd heard this joke. And my dad, it wasn't that funny joke, but they loved seeing a 3-year-old tell this joke, right? And basically it was a haunted hotel room where nobody would stay in there. Of course, there were many jokes like that. And every time anybody went in there to stay, this bloody skeleton came in and saying, bloody bones, bloody bones. And they would run out and leave. And so finally they ran the room to this hippie, told him he could stay in there free if he could stay in there, And so he lay down to go to sleep, and the skeleton came in and said, bloody bones, bloody bones. And the hippie said, cool it, man, slap a Band-Aid on it.
Oh, slap a Band-Aid on it.
Slap a Band-Aid. Cool it, man, slap a Band-Aid on it. And that joke is not funny, but it was funny to hear me tell it at age 3. So you have to go way back in time, 60-something years ago.
Yeah, I'd love to hear 3-year-old Wade say bloody bones. That's a funny show.
Yeah, that was it.
Speaking of scary things, it's not too early to ask, do you have your Halloween costume picked out? You and Conway are going to be going trick-or-treating. You're going to go as a Georgia log truck driver. No, I think you ought to have something for Conway, because you get a lot of trick-or-treaters out there in the woods. The traveling Irish, they come by and do scary stuff in front of your...
I just mentioned them. Yeah, I can conjure them up right easy.
Yeah.
Right easy. Hey, Matt, I remember another joke my daddy told when we were kids. He got Mom on this one.
Let's hear it.
He came in one day for lunch. Now, this my daddy used to say this actual happened. What he used to say. He came in at lunch and he told Mama, he was like really excited. He said, "Did you hear about that greyhound that turned over?" Mom said, "No, was anybody killed?" No, he just rolled over to nurse her puppies.
Yeah, just rolled over to, take care of them little pups. We used to have a greyhound track back home.
Again, we didn't say these were funny jokes.
Yeah.
You said they were jokes.
We asked y'all, by the way, if you had any jokes, and as of the time of this broadcast, nobody had written in with any of them. And
neither have I.
No. But you
remember Mary Jane jokes?
Yeah. You got any? I'm afraid to ask.
I remember quite a few that I really can't tell, but my favorite was Mary Jane saw a fly on a pile of manure. Mm-hmm. And she just laughed. And laughed. She knew that fly didn't do all that.
Oh, gosh. All right. I wanted to...
We just lost Meeks Cattle Company. They just left us out there, just abandoned us.
They have run off as far as they... So the point of this is, if you have any good jokes, send them our way, because we wanted to close the shows out with a good joke. And if you are selected for the closing joke, we'll send you a prize, or we'll have something for you.
Or a reasonable facsimile thereof.
Yeah, or Brother Wade will leave the outgoing message on your answering machine.
Yeah, you pull that old NPR thing
like
there.
Carl Castle used to do.
Yeah, Carl Castle.
Because we're too cheap to send him anything else. We could probably send him something from Georgia Folk and Farm Life, a sticker or something we could come up with.
That reminds me of a dog joke.
Let's hear it.
A talking dog. The guy had a talking dog, and he took him to the agent, and he thought he was going to get rich. He said, "I got my dog talks," and the guy said, "Well, let's hear him talk." He said, "Well," he asked the dog. He said, "What do you call the top of a house?" He said, "Roof." And the agent wasn't impressed. He said, "Ask him something else." He said, how would you describe sandpaper?" And the dog said, "Roof."
Oh yeah.
The agent still wasn't impressed. And he said, "Who was the greatest baseball player of all time?" He said, "Roof." So the agent, he threw him out. And they got outside, walked down the sidewalk, and the dog said, "Well, I guess I should have said Hank Aaron." Yeah.
Probably should have. That's a pretty smart old dog. Does Conway tell any jokes? You and I were talking about this the other night. You're not going to throw the baby under the bus.
What did he do?
Well, no, you and I were talking about him, and I said, Conway, look at him watching. He's hearing us talk. And I said his name, and he would kind of look over. And then you said something that really shocked me about poor Conway.
That he wasn't very bright.
See, you can't say that about your own dog.
Hey,
That's
I love
gotta
the
be
kid.
the-
You know I love him, but he's not very bright. He's really not.
Come on. You can't say
People
that.
are all over. There's some sweet ladies just falling out.
Yeah.
They need some smelling salts right now.
Yeah.
I did say that. Hey, y'all know I love the baby, but he's not.
No, you
bright.
can't. You can't say that. He's just such a sweet little dog, and he means so well.
Speaking of Conway, did you hear about preacher that looked like Conway Twitty?
No,
No, just like him.
did it?
He moved to this town. He was new, and he decided to go around and introduce himself to folks in the neighborhood. And so every time he knock on the door, when they answer the door, they say, "Conway Twitty." And he said, "No, I'm not Conway Twitty. I'm just a new preacher down at the church on the corner there, and I'd like to invite you to our service this Sunday." So this went on all morning, you know. And finally, he knocked on his door, and this good-looking woman, had evidently just got out of the shower. She didn't have much on, just a towel wrapped around her, and she was knocked out. And she said, "Conway." And he said, "Hello, darling."
I knew that was coming.
Hello, darling.
There you go.
Hello, darling.
You got to have a little bit more of it right there.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, nice to see.
It's been
You gonna sing?
Long time.
Oh, there you go. There you go. All right.
We have Conway howling in a minute.
I guarantee you, there's absolutely nobody left on this show now. You know,
About the old boy from, hey, wait, did you hear about the old boy from Twin City that got stopped by he was headed to Savannah, and the trooper stopped him on I-16 and asked him what his hurry was?
no.
He said he was late for his psychiatrist's appointment.
Uh-huh.
And he said if he was late, the psychiatrist would start without him.
Yeah, that's bad, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's bad when that happens.
I hate when
Okay. You ready to get back? What I was asking
I
you
don't know
about,
why that was just, that's all we did.
I was asking you if Conway knew any good jokes. And you changed the subject on me. Does he know any good jokes?
No, it would be a chicken joke. It would,
Yeah.
it would be. I'm sure he knows a chicken joke or two, but
Yeah.
he hasn't shared them with me. He doesn't share his chicken, Matt. That's why he hasn't shared his chicken joke with me.
Yeah. You got to be careful the way you say that.
Yeah, share your chicken joke.
Yeah.
She could get.
Well, we got to get Conway a good joke. I'm hoping that he can come up with one before the next.
I'm going to share this. We're coming up on the half of midway, but I'm going to share my all-time favorite joke.
God.
In a minute. What? Halfway? Did you hear? You know about this? The traveling salesman. His car broke down, and he knocked on this door. He walked. He found this farmhouse at night. Knocked on the door. It's in rural Georgia, you know. Traveling salesman.
Yeah,
you ever
down
heard
south.
this? You heard one of these jokes like this before?
No,
Yes, you have.
I'm going to play dumb.
There's a lot. Okay.
I'm going to play
But
like
anyway,
Conway
he
over
knocks
here.
on this door, and his farmer answers it, and he says, "Yeah, I'm a traveling salesman, and my car broke down." He said, "You got a place I can spend the night?" He said, "Yeah, you can stay in the room with my son." He said, "Wait a minute, I'm in the wrong joke."
That's terrible. That is terrible. All right.
We're
All right.
halfway point. Yeah, people.
Yeah, we're almost there, Wade. You got one more terrible one. Hey, listen, this is
About
not.
here, lightning bug that backed into the fan.
Say that again. Slow it
The
down.
lightning bug that backed into the fan.
Did I hear about the
bug.
lightning bug that backed into the fan? No.
Disaster?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Just run the commercial.
Hi, this is Wade Peoples from Georgia Folk and Farm Life Radio. I'm here to tell you about Meeks Brothers Cattle Company. And you don't have to worry about supply chain issues or where your beef comes from. Do what I do and call Meeks Brothers Cattle Company today. You can get a whole, half, a quarter, any amount of beef you want. Good quality beef, vacuum packed, lasts up to 3 years in your freezer. It's grass-fed, grain finished, made to order. Visit Meeks Brothers Cattle Company on Facebook today and tell them Brother Wade sent you. And that's Meeks Brothers Cattle Company. Thank you.
All the best country.
Georgia Radio. Everywhere you go.
Well, we're back.
Say what was the punchline again on the bug joke? Disaster.
Yeah, the lightning bug that backed into the fan. Yeah. I've also heard it the propeller, you know. But yeah,
disaster.
Actually, it was more than that. It said disaster. No disaster, no end.
We gotta apologize to Meeks Brothers Cattle Company for this show. This has just gone off the rails, and if you're still listening, you got to go buy some Meeks Brothers meat because it honestly is some of the best meat you'll ever taste.
It is fantastic. In fact, I talked to somebody today that was wanting the information. They were going to buy a half a cow, and I'm glad that they'll enjoy it. You know, in all seriousness, my brother used to work at the Coke plant in Swainsboro.
Yeah.
And he was loading trucks one day with a forklift, and they had pallets of stacked up Hive drinks to put on the truck. And when he swung around, this like 8 or 9 pallets loaded with Cokes and all, and Sprite and Orange, fell over on one of the guys he worked with.
And?
Well, it didn't hurt him because they were soft drinks.
Gosh.
Yeah. All right, we're down. That's all about jokes, except for my favorite joke of all time. You want to hear it? We want to say it now. They went after I get this one out. We could go do other things.
Well, hold on to that thought because gosh, that was terrible. Soft drinks, they didn't hurt him.
No,
because they were soft drinks. Seriously?
Yep. Seriously. Mm-hmm.
What's been going on George Folk and Farm Life? You know, we had Miss Jenkins on the other day.
That was a fabulous show.
And about I don't know how many people, hundreds and hundreds of people. The post as of I don't know, just a day or two after that show, I looked at it, had reached over 4,500 different people. And the episode downloads have been flying off the roof. And we had, I don't even know how many, we've had a banner, the whole month of August was just a banner month for Georgia radio. And
great.
Yeah, over 10,000.
You should thank all the people that helped make it great.
Like Wade Peebles.
I ain't calling any names,
but Wade Peebles, what I was going to say is her show really touched a lot of people.
It did.
And that was just fantastic. We need to have her back on and have part 2.
She's got other stories. In fact, I'll share a story she told me on the phone yesterday. Now, I'll kind of butcher it and get her to tell it later, but well, no, I won't. I'm just going to wait, and we'll have her on again, and she can tell that.
Yeah, we got to have her
story
back
about
on.
how her grandparents met. So,
but you know what struck me was that people were hanging on, just on the edge of their seat, right there at the end when she was telling that story about her mother and her mother having to make the decision about the abortion. And if you haven't heard the episode, I'm telling you, it's worth listening to. You got to go back and listen to the whole thing. She's just remarkable. What a remarkable
She
lady.
has had a life that's amazing, and she has, and I think my favorite, I loved her and Mr. Al. Mr. Al, if you don't know, those that don't know, he just passed away a couple of weeks ago, and he was a great friend of mine, and she's a great friend of mine. And they had a great love, a great marriage, and a great love for one another. And during the show, I asked her, I said, Miss Ruth, I said, I knew she had a first husband who died. He was a farmer, and I think he died of liver cancer, same as Mr. Al. I may be wrong about that. But I said, Miss Ruth, Mr. Al was, and he was always Mr. Al to me, and Miss Ruth. I have so much respect for him and love for him. But I said, Mr. Al was your second husband, right? And she said, no, honey, Al was my third and fifth husband.
Yeah. Which just cracked us both up. I mean,
she was dead serious.
Yeah.
He was her third and fifth. I didn't know about the number 2 or number 4. I don't know who they were. But I don't care.
And I wrote and I said she was twice widowed, and I thought, well, nobody corrected me on it. I was
she's been twice.
I don't know
at least.
At least I don't know what happened to
if all of them died, then we need to open an investigation. But
we might. She's going to be like that Tiger lady or whatever, Miss Ruth. Yeah, she never had any.
She's a sweet lady, but she's buried a bunch of them.
Yeah,
we just kidding, Miss Ruth. We love you, honey.
She'd be right here. She'd be right here kidding with us.
She laughed with us.
I'll tell you what. I loved that episode, and my thanks to you for having her on because, man, I had people. I had a guy write me from Canada about that episode that was listened to. Oh yeah, I'm serious. I mean. It's reached far and wide, and
well, we've had other people on that we said we were going to have them on again, and we will some. But She is a must. Miss Ruth is a must. And
She
if
is
you
a
have,
must.
if you missed that show, go to the podcast.
Well, what I was
and
going to
listen.
tell everybody too is that this is why we do this,
That's right.
and it's why we started the show. So if there's somebody that you're aware of that you'd
we're
like
open
us to
to
have on,
suggestions,
send
yes.
it over and let's get them on because that's what this is about. So, yeah, there you go. All right, I know you're sitting there, you're just waiting. You've
Favorite
got it.
joke of all
You've
time?
got it primed. And I know you're ready. I've got to ask though. I got to ask before I go into this. Can you explain the Octagon Soap? Because somebody wrote in about that and was asking me about it. They sent me a picture of it. You had a post. I don't know about it. Octagon Soap, and it was. I get. Was that your picture, or what? What was the significance on that?
No. Well, people made homemade soap. One of the earliest and most successful brands of store-bought soap, so-called store-bought soap, was Colgate's Octagon Soap. That was originally 8-sided bar, and it still was. It had the corners not, chamfered. That made it 8-sided. But a lot of people called it oxygen soap. I heard a lot of country people say, oxygen soap's some good soap, oxygen soap, but it's Octagon. It was just very successful. It was a great soap. It was cheap, and it gave, if you cut out the little part of the wrapper as a coupon and sent them in to Colgate, they had a catalog that you could order merchandise from with just so many, you had to save so many, the wrappers to send
love
in.
it. Back then it wasn't like, this soap, it's got oils and essential oils, and it's got all this stuff in it, and parabens, and all this stuff. It's really good for it. The only marketing that they had on that was that it had 8 sides. Like
8 sides.
Well, it's got to be good if it's got 8 sides.
8 sides.
Yeah, I mean, what could be wrong with that? So,
like your first wife at 8 sides. Yeah.
Oh, geez. Speaking of wives, the other day. This is true. My neighbor came over.
Don't forget the greatest joke of all time.
My neighbor came over the other day. She came over the other day, and she was kind of confused.
This joke has a neighbor in it. As a matter of fact, go ahead.
So the other neighbor that I didn't see the other neighbor, but the other neighbor has gone. She's got a part-time business, and so my other 2 neighbors were standing there, and they were telling me about this. And anyway. Chloe came over and she said that I had to ask Bobby about his visit from the neighbor. And I said, well, Bobby, tell me about this. I said, what's going on? And he said, well, you're not going to believe this. He said, but Sue came over the other day and she has gone into the essential oil business. And so I'm inviting all my buddies over because on certain oils, we will get anywhere from 25% off of any order that we make the night she comes over to talk to us. And I said, well, that's pretty good. And I'm waiting for him to get it, but he doesn't get it. And so he's like, we're going into the fall, and I'm going to have to change the oil in the tractor. I've got to change the oil in the outboard. He goes, she told me, and he goes, listen, I'll see what I can do. But, she told me that she'd give me half off of anything I bought that night. And he goes, I am dead set on it. And so he's got all of his buddies that live around out there.
40 weight.
Oh, they're ready. They're thinking they're going to get the Rotella. They're going to get the mobile one. They're ready. They have no idea. What they're walking into.
This could be bad.
It could be. So Sue has hornswoggled all these men into coming over to his house, and I'll let you know how it goes. I'm going to just show up just to see. I can't wait till she breaks out, the saffron oil and all that other stuff, and all they're there for is the 40 weight.
We've got a sweet lady member that sent me this little bottle of.
Oh, you've got some.
The second one. Blue tansy oil. I put it on my hands, and this is the second little bottle.
What?
Blue tansy.
Blue tansy.
It made my tansy blue.
What do you make blue tansy oil with?
My tansy blue. It's blue tansy oil. I don't know. It's for your skin and your hands.
You don't have to mix it with anything? Some of that stuff will burn the fire out of you. You know.
I don't drink anymore. You know that. Oh, you don't mean a mixed drink?
No, you like mix it with olive oil or something. I learned that. I learned that. I learned you had to mix it with something because otherwise it'll burn you. I had that problem. I went in and I got some of that stuff.
You blister your tansy with that.
Oh my gosh! Well, yeah, it burned. It burned badly. All right, so the greatest joke of all time, according to Wade Peebles.
Now, this is my opinion. Now, everybody, like Mama used to say, everybody's got their own opinion. Was the old lady said when she kissed a cow. You know, everybody's their own opinion. But all right, these people, they were from Georgia, and I want to say they were probably from around Meeks or Kite, somewhere over there in that area in Johnson County.
Kite, you just, God.
My family's from there, and that's why I pick on it, because I love the people over there. And anyway, so they were from over that area, and she went to the doctor and had some tests done, and he told her, said, come back tomorrow and bring a urine sample. And she didn't know what a urine sample was, but she didn't want to act dumb, so she pretended. She said, well, I'll ask my husband when I get home. So when she got home, her husband came home from work, and she asked, he said, well, what did the doctor tell you? He said, well, he told me to come back tomorrow and bring a urine sample. He said, what's that? And so he didn't know either. And she said, well, I was hoping you would know. He said, no, I don't know what it is. Said, after you get through with the supper dishes, go over and ask the neighbor lady. She's pretty smart. She knows a lot of stuff. So she did. She washed the dishes, and she wasn't gone with just a few minutes. When she came staggering back in, her hair all messed up, and her lip was cut, and her nose was bleeding. She had a black eye. Her dress was half tore off.
Oh, my gosh.
And her husband said, my God, what happened to you? And she sniffled and cried. She said, I did like you said. I went over and asked the neighbor lady what a urine sample was, and she told me to go pee in a jar, and I told her to go fart in a jug, and one word led to another.
They got in a tussle, huh? That's the worst joke I've ever heard.
That's funny.
Ever.
You know it.
That's not.
One word led to another.
One word led to another. That is.
Yep.
It's just a terrible joke, Wade.
You go pee in a jar, or you go fart in a jug.
The fact that was the worst you could come up with is what's even better about this whole thing. All right, send your jokes over to Brother Wade. They're on Georgia Folk and Farm Life because we want to have a giveaway. We'll give away something. I don't know what we'll give away, but we'll give away something. It'll
we'll have
fun.
Another joke show and do y'all's jokes instead of mine.
Gosh.
It'll be, Matt will be happy
well,
about that.
Well, no, listen, if you can, send them in via the app, via the My Georgia Radio app. Just push the microphone button down at the bottom and send us your jokes because these are horrible. And if you're still listening to this
show, my best joke.
No.
Good.
You want to say the punchline one more time? Because I just like watching you say it.
I asked her what a urine sample was, and she told me to go pee in a jar, and I told her to go fart in a jug, and one word led to another.
Gosh, it's even worse the second time. All right, see y'all later, everybody.
I enjoyed it, y'all. Thank you.
All the best country.
Georgia Radio. Everywhere you go.